What's up guys, I'm Rochelle and this is the End Times. In our first 4 videos, we've gone through the first 3 beasts of Daniel 7. The first beast we identified as Satan, the dragon of the book of Revelation. The second beast we identified as Leviathan, the beast of Revelation. And the third beast we identified as Belial, the false prophet of Revelation. And now finally we've made it to the 4th beast. Yay! As always, we'll start by reading the verse and then we'll take each description one at a time. So, the verse, Daniel chapter 7, verse 7 through 8. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth, it devoured and broke in pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another horn, a little horn, before which 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Now the very first thing Daniel notices is that this 4th beast is terrifying and dreadful, or better yet, as verse 19 states, exceedingly terrifying. Now, the word translated to terrifying is the Aramaic word that I cannot pronounce, that would better be translated as awesome, as in it deserves reverence. So the reason that this is so important is because this is the description we have of God. Look with me at what King Darius says about God after Daniel was saved from the lion's den. Daniel chapter 6 verse 26. I make a decree that in all my royal dominion people are to tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, enduring forever. His kingdom shall never be destroyed, and his dominion shall be to the end. In this passage, the word awesome, or reverence, is translated as the word fear. And this isn't the only verse. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 20 through 22, Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 58 through 59, Judges chapter 13 verse 6, Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 5, and many other verses all speak about the awesomeness of our God. Now, why does this matter? I want to bring to your remembrance Lucifer's sin that brought his punishment. Now, some could say, wait, hold up, Ari. Isn't the 4th beast a 4th kingdom on the earth? Well, yes, it is. But it is also a 4th king. Let's take a quick look at Daniel chapter 7 verse 17. These 4 beasts are 4 kings who shall arise out of the earth. Now, with that said, let's take a look at that Lucifer verse. So Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 through 15. How you are fallen from heaven, O Daystar, son of dawn. How you were cut down to the ground, you who lay the nations low. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven above the stars of God. I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of assembly in the far reaches of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to Sheol, to the far reaches of the pit. Now, some could argue that this 4th beast could be Leviathan, the beast of Revelation, because he declares himself to be God, which is a great argument, but I want you to remember that the beast then declares another God to be the one and only God. Check this out. Daniel chapter 11 verse 37 through 38. He shall pay no attention to the gods of his fathers or to the one beloved by women. He shall not pay attention to any other god, for he shall magnify himself above all. He shall honor the God of fortresses instead of these. A God whom his fathers did not know, he shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and costly gifts. So it can't be Leviathan, the beast of Revelation, because this beast is so intense, so fearsome, that Daniel describes it as being awesome. So the only one who even comes close to this description is Lucifer. Check out how the angels describe Lucifer. Revelation chapter 17 verse 8. The beast that you saw was and is not and is about to rise from the bottomless pit and go to destruction. And the dwellers on earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world will marvel to see the beast, because it was and is not and is to come. So the whole earth marvels at the beast that rises from the bottomless pit, Abaddon, who is Lucifer. For more on Abaddon being Lucifer, check out our video, Who is Abaddon, the Angel of the Bottomless Pit, under our End Times category. Now, Daniel also describes this beast as being dreadful. So fearful or dreadful is a key characteristic of this beast, which means this beast could be called the King of Terrors. Here's what I'm talking about. Job chapter 18, verse 11 through 14. Terrors frighten him on every side and chase him at his heels. His strength is famished, and calamity is ready for his stumbling. It consumes the parts of his skin. The firstborn of death consumes his limbs. He is torn from the tent in which he trusted and is brought to the King of Terrors. This is Bildad the Shuhite, talking about the wicked. According to Bildad, the wicked are torn from the comfort of their sin and their familiar spirits and brought to the tent of the King of Terrors. This King of Terrors sounds like he would be the fourth beast that Daniel saw. Now, if you're like my mom, then you're probably asking the question, what does this have to do with anything? I'm not seeing the connection here, Ari. Well, if the beast is exceedingly terrifying and is not like any of the other beasts, then wouldn't that mean that he has to be the King of Terrors? And according to Bildad, the wicked shall be turned over to this King of Terror. This word terror is the Hebrew word that I, again, can't pronounce, which means sudden terror, horror, calamity, destruction. Here's another verse for you. Look at Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16 with me. Those who see you will stare at you and ponder over you. Is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms? According to God, Lucifer made the earth tremble in fear. He shook the kingdoms of the earth with destruction. Look at how John describes Abaddon, aka Lucifer, Revelation 17, verse 8. The beast that you saw was and is not and is about to rise from the bottomless pit and go to destruction. And the dwellers on the earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will marvel to see the beast, because it was and is not and is to come. It's not just regular fear that it strikes into the heart of his victims. It's fear because of this destruction or calamity, like Abaddon, aka Lucifer, strikes into the heart of his victims. Now, the very next thing Daniel notices is that the fourth beast is exceedingly strong. Like we said earlier, the beast of Revelation claims himself to be God until Abaddon rises, and the beast declares Abaddon to be the one true God, according to Daniel chapter 11, verse 37 through 38, which we just read earlier. Now, let's take another look at what God accuses Lucifer of. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 17. Who made the world like a desert and overthrew its cities? Who did not let his prisoners go home? In Revelation chapter 11, John records his vision of the two witnesses that no one can stop them. Revelation chapter 11, verse 4 through 7. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. And if anyone would harm them, fire pours from their mouth and consumes their foes. If anyone would harm them, this is how he is doomed to be killed. They have the power to shut the sky, that no rain may fall during the days of their prophesying, and they have the power over the waters to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague, as often as they desire. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that rises from the bottomless pit, Abaddon, will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. Now, some could say that Abaddon only kills them because they finished their testimony, so God allows him to conquer them. Now, true, but I also want you to keep in mind that if the only reason God allows them to be conquered is because their testimony is over, then why not let the beast, whom the whole world is worshiping, be the one to conquer them? Why does the beast need Abaddon, a foreign god, to help him conquer, according to Daniel chapter 11, verse 39? He shall deal with the strongest fortresses with the help of a foreign god. Those who acknowledge him, he shall load with honor. He shall make them rulers over many and shall divide the land for a price. I agree that the only reason Abaddon could conquer them is because they finished their testimony, but I also believe that it was Abaddon who conquered them because he was the only one who could actually conquer them because of his extreme strength. But let's keep going. So the next description, Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. It had great iron teeth. In scripture, teeth represent power. Take a look with me at Proverbs chapter 30, verse 14. It says, "There are those whose teeth are swords, whose fangs are knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, the needy from among mankind." Look with me at Psalms 57 verse 4. "My soul is in the midst of lions. I lie down amid fiery beasts, the children of man whose teeth are spears and arrows, whose tongues are sharp swords." Now, iron represents how strong that power is. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 48. "Therefore you shall serve your enemies whom the Lord will send against you in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and lacking everything. And he will put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you." Look at the description of Jesus in Psalms 2 verse 7 through 9. "I will tell of the decree the Lord said to me. You are my son, today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your heritage and the ends of the earth your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron and dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel." So this beast, according to Daniel, is exceedingly strong with great power. And, again, some will say, well, what about Leviathan? Isn't he described as having limbs of iron in Job 40 verse 18, and that he counts iron as straw according to Job 41 verse 27? Well, yes. Yes, it does say that. But context matters. Each of these instances, God is explaining Leviathan's power compared to mankind. Now, some will say, but Ari, didn't you say in your video, Leviathan, under your too deep category, that God was explaining how powerful he was and using Leviathan as an example? I sure did. But again, he didn't compare Leviathan to other beasts, nor did he compare Leviathan to himself. He compared Leviathan to mankind. And to mankind, Leviathan is like iron. And according to the vision God gave Daniel, Lucifer is like iron compared to Leviathan. In doing this, God made a distinction between Lucifer and the other beasts. He was saying Lucifer is much stronger than any other beast, including Leviathan, which is why Leviathan calls Lucifer, Abaddon, the one true God, and that he also needs his help in order to take down the strong fortresses of the earth in the days to come, according to Daniel chapter 11 verse 37 through 39, which we read earlier. Now, the very next thing Daniel sees is that it devoured and broke in pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. Daniel chapter 7 verse 7. So let's take a look at Revelation chapter 9 verse 3 through 6. It says, "Then from the smoke came locusts on the earth, and they were given power like the power of scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth, or any green plant, or any tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They were allowed to torment them for 5 months, but not kill them, and their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings someone. And in those days, people will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them." Now, some could say, hold up, Ari. These are the locusts, not Abaddon. True. But these locusts are under the authority of Abaddon. This is similar to how Jesus responds to the Pharisees in Matthew chapter 12 when they accuse him of having a demon. This is what they say, Matthew chapter 12, verse 24 through 26. "But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, 'It is only by Beelzebul, the prince of demons, that this man casts out demons.' Knowing their thoughts, he said to them, 'Every kingdom divided against itself is laid waste, and no city or house divided against itself will stand. And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand?'" Jesus wasn't saying that Beelzebul and Satan are the same being, but instead that Beelzebul was under the authority of Satan. So if Jesus was then possessed by Beelzebul and was using that demon to cast out the demon in the man, then that would be equal to Satan fighting against himself, since both the demons, the demon that they said was in Jesus and the demon that was in the man, would be under the authority of Satan. For more on that subject, check out our video, Are Satan and Beelzebul the Same Being?, under our Too Deep category. Now, just like Jesus is equating Beelzebul casting out a demon to Satan fighting against himself, these locusts are under Abaddon, which equates to Abaddon doing these things. Here's another example of Lucifer or Abaddon devouring and breaking into pieces what's left. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 21 through 22, Jesus explains that after the abomination of desolation is set up in the temple of God, there is coming a great tribulation like never before. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved, but for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. This tribulation is not like any tribulation before. It is worse than anything the beast of Revelation does. It's worse than anything the false prophet or the image of the beast does. This tribulation is unlike anything we've ever seen before, and it's unlike anything we'll ever see again. In the next video, we'll go more into, we'll actually get into the fourth beast as a kingdom, as well as the 10 horns and the 11th horn that comes up before which the 3 of the original horns fell, and we'll get deep within the next 2 videos. So just to sum everything up for you guys, the fourth beast as a king is Lucifer, who is also Abaddon. He is described as being terrifying, which also means awesome, as in deserving reverence, like the name of God, which was Lucifer's original sin of trying to make himself like God. He is also the king of terror, which is why Daniel describes the fourth beast as being dreadful and why he goes to destruction or brings destruction. He is also stronger than any of the other beasts, which is why Leviathan needs his help to take down the strong fortresses. And I hope this all made sense and that we cleared up any questions you guys had about the fourth beast as a king. And if you feel that we left something out or maybe we didn't explain everything clearly, please let us know in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And until next time, God bless.